All right, guys, back to the office, everybody. What do you guys think? Let's let me know your opinions. Let's listen to a few opinions out there on the internet. Let's have a look at the big one so far is Amazon's return to office. Let's check it out. Let's listen to this lady's opinion on it.
Holy shit, some big news was announced today. So our favorite employer, Amazon, announced their mandatory return to office 5 days a week policy starting in January. And I'm pissed about this news. And I don't even work at Amazon, but I'm pissed, and I'll tell you why. So my first reaction to this was like, shut the fuck up. I can't believe this is happening. And then quickly after that, my second reaction to this was like, I am so happy I don't work at Amazon because I had interviewed there a few months ago, didn't end up getting the job offer, but now reflecting back at it, I'm like, I do not want to work there. And my third reaction after sitting on this news all day is actually I'm pissed because this does not only affect people that work at Amazon, but it also affects people like me that are currently in the job market. I've been laid off looking for a full-time job for almost 2 years now. And this just contributes to the problem because now people at Amazon, they're pissed about this news. I'm sure they're like, fuck this place, peace out. I'm gonna go find myself another job where I don't have to go to the office 5 days a week. So this just adds that many more people into this ever-growing job market where it's just way too competitive, way too many people applying for jobs. So it's almost impossible to find a job, aka me, impossible. Like, I am the perfect example of this. So it just adds to this deep hole that I'm in, and I'm pissed. Like, this is so annoying. I'm sick of this happening. Like, and also I don't want to be applying for more jobs where you have to go into the office full time. So overall, yeah, this news is horrible for people that work at Amazon and not.
All right, so there's a couple of things to unpack there, I think. Is this lady here, she's complaining because she's been laid off for 2 years. She wants to find a fully remote job or a job that you don't have to go into the office full time. Those jobs are becoming less and less available as far as I'm able to see. Leave me a comment below on what you're seeing now. But obviously she has been looking for a job that she doesn't have to go into the office full time. She's been looking for 2 years. Now, after 2 years, you'd think, well, I'm gonna have to cut my standards a little bit maybe and go into a job I need to make money. What do you guys think? I'm thinking that she is kind of unrealistic maybe, and thinking that she's gonna be able to find a job that's, fully remote or whatever. It's not, it's turning the tide, right? Everyone is coming back to the office. I'm coming back to the office. Everyone that I know of, obviously Amazon's, they're putting their foot down. Got to come to the office, okay? What do you guys think? So let's get another opinion here. These people are thinking, well, they really want to lay people off. This is just an excuse so that so the companies don't have to lay people off. This is a layoff in disguise, that kind of conspiracy theory. I mean, it's not that conspiracy to me. It seems kind of logical, but let's take a look and see what this person has to say.
So this article right here, just absolutely hits the nail on the head. They're talking about companies who are doing return to office, but they're doing it specifically instead of a layoff. They're trying to get people to quit. About 90% of companies are going to do some sort of return to office in 2024. So this isn't new. One of the companies that is probably doing this is AT&T. They have 60,000 managers in 50 states saying come back into the office, but only at 9 locations. So it's very specific and strategic.
All right, we'll circle back around. Here's another real quick opinion that agrees with this guy here.
We've talked a lot about the return to office mandates, but we haven't talked about how they're actually just soft layoffs. Layoffs are actually a legal nightmare, so we see companies like Grindr forcing a return to office because then they lose half their staff without having to jump through all those legal hoops. Another reason that they do this is it just looks better to stakeholders to not call it what it is, which is a layoff. And this part up here about employee morale, I don't know if I quite agree with, because yes, obviously layoffs are a very scary word to employees, and a lot of times, even if there are layoffs, the people that are safe will jump ship too. But when you think about the people who stay, and now have to pick up the work of everyone who left, I can't say that that's good for morale either. The other thing that typically backfires here is we have this idea that the people who stay are really committed. Are they committed, or do they just not have any other options? Especially when you think about the people who have to stay there because they're on a visa and they don't have any other options. It's not a good place to be. So for all these companies daring employees to quit, I don't think you're going to be very happy with the results.
I don't know. Do you think that people are really, or you think that companies are really daring their employees to quit? I mean, it seems like that since the pandemic, right? Everyone worked from home, did what they had to do, and now it's over, right? Now, come back to the way it used to be, come back to the office, but then we realize, wait a minute, we've been doing this remote thing successfully for this long. Why do we need to come back to the office? Well, this guy right here, or this person right here, has a very interesting reason behind it. Is because the companies have spent so much money on their leases and their fancy digs, their corporate offices. What are we going to do? No one's coming to the office. Everyone, get your butts back into the office and let's use what we paid for. What do you think? Is that real or not? Leave me a comment below. Let's take a look.
Companies are shifting to in office, knowing that they took such a hard stance on being remote. And then in 2023, a lot of them were like, well, we like to be hybrid. And now they're just saying, nope, you got to be back in the office 5 days a week, 8 to 5. And during the last 4 years, people have relocated. People have gotten used to being remote workers. The problem is not everybody's good at remote working. So there is some substance to saying like we want that in-person collaboration. We want that in-person being able to work through problems and have those relationships with your coworkers and your managers and so on. But what will happen is not everybody's going to comply and there will be more layoffs. So Amazon is the next one. Salesforce just announced this a couple weeks ago. But they went hybrid in 2023, and now they're saying in 2025, all full-time employees must be in the office 5 days a week. He noted that the company's 3-day work week was instituted in 2023, had only reinforced their view that a full return were to be necessary. If you're a remote employee right now, and you work for a company that has invested a lot of money in real estate on these big fancy corporate offices, I would start thinking through what your plan's going to be when they tell you to come back into the office.
All right, there you go. She seems to corroborate the idea that, hey, we're, got fancy offices. People need to come back. One of the things she touched on is, collaboration. We're all in it together. We feel the vibe, we're getting things done. You look over here and talk to them and this and that. You can, the environment, the socialization, all that's very positive. You can't do that sitting at home in your pajamas, right? You just have to be on a team call, but what do you think? Now, here's an interesting perspective from this lady here who's saying that returning to office after you've been used to not working, in the office, returning to office has a financial impact on especially women, but on women and families as well. Let's take a look at her perspective and let's pay attention to this one because this one is actually gives a good. She gives good examples on how it affects her. So let's take a look here.
There are so many companies that are forcing their employees to return to office 5 days a week, and this is going to disproportionately impact women, but also it has huge financial implications for families and especially those with children. For context, a friend was just texting me and her company's decided that as of January 2025, they have to return to the office full time. And she's panicking a bit because not only is this going to impact her life, like her day-to-day life, her commute, her schedule, everything, it's going to have a huge financial impact. I think most people don't understand how this shakes out for families, but if you are a parent of a school-age kid, I, for example, have a second grader and a first grader, this is what my life looks like. Their bus does not come till 8:45. So if I need to be at work at 9 a.m., I would need before school care. That costs $15 per kid per day. So that's $30 a day for those two kids to go there. Then school gets out at 3, their bus usually gets home at like 3:45, give or take, right? And so if I need after school care, even if I only need care till 4, 5, whatever it might be, you typically have to pay for the day. That's $45 a day. So now for 2 kids for after school care is $90 a day. So for 2 kids to attend before school care and after school care for 1 month, I'd be paying about like $2,600 a month for childcare for those public school age kids. Mind you, I'm not talking about little kids in daycare. This is for older kids. And so not only would my life change logistically, right? My whole life would change logistically. I'd have way less time with my family and my children. It would also have huge financial implications. This is something that families are bearing the brunt of, and companies are not compensating parents when they go back to the office, right? And so families are taking a huge financial hit, and this disproportionately impacts women because when families can't afford childcare or figure out how to navigate it, women tend to be the ones who take a step back. They are the ones who limit their careers, who take a more flexible job, who leave the job that forces them to return to office for something that pays them less or that has more flexibility. Because our society, there is no infrastructure for families. There is no affordable childcare. There is no social safety nets. So families are trying to figure this out on their own. Companies don't really care. And so this return to the office feels like a bit of a personal attack on women, but on men as well, on parents in general, where it's like, if I've been doing my job successfully and productively, is a 5-day return to office required? Why can't we do hybrid? What is the harm in that, right? Because this is a huge, huge financial cost. $2,600 is not nothing. That is a massive impact to families. And companies are not typically looking at that, right? They are deciding what makes sense for them and their bottom line or top line, whatever they're trying to figure out, or the fact that they just have commercial real estate that they need to fill. It is ridiculous, but it is going to force more and more women out of the workforce, just like COVID did, right? Anytime a massive shift in kind of how we work happens, women are disproportionately impacted. This is going to have huge repercussions. This is going to impact families. This is financially going to hurt many, many people.
Yeah, she's got some good points there, and women are the ones that always get affected. That's true, but the point that I would say is that she says that before care, if she worked at 9, well, I think most places start at 8, but even if she starts working at 9, that's whatever her schedule is, she'd have to get before childcare if she were to commute to the office, because she couldn't let them go at 8:45 and then turn around and get on the Zoom call, whatever, by 9. But what she said also was, they get off at 3:45, so that affects me too. But you're supposed to be working, right? I mean, do you just stop working when your kids come home at 3:45? Is your schedule 9 to 3:45? I mean, that's the kind of stuff that corporations are thinking is happening. Whether that's happening or is real or not, leave me a comment below. If you're a woman, that'd be awesome. Let me know realistically when your time does stop. When the kids come home, you got to feed them and all that stuff. That's not working, right? I mean, you're getting paid to do that. The corporations won't like that for sure. They definitely want you back into the office, I think. I don't know. Leave me a comment what you believe. So here is a very interesting perspective from this lady here. She's saying that basically she's agreeing with the other guys, saying that it's a kind of a downsizing tactic for the return to home. But her other perspective is, hey, we need to band together as employees. We need to to stick together. But how realistic is that? The companies are not going to care, right, unless you're union or something like that. But let's take a look at this perspective, and you tell me what you think.
Y'all, do not fall for the return to office trick from your employer. I mean, we saw this over the last year, that companies start trying to push people to return to office as a way to get them to quit so they don't have to do as many layoffs. Layoffs are bad press and they're expensive. Meta spent over $1 billion on severance for the employees they laid off last year alone. If you quit, they don't get the bad press and they don't have to pay you. Instead, use the time you have to figure out how you can get one of these exemptions, or consider teaming up with your colleagues, like the people at SAP are doing a petition. At Amazon, they're talking about unionizing. If everyone challenges these mandates, these employers are going to realize they can't win. If you're in a position to do so, figure out ways to push back on your employer. If I was at IBM, I would be focused right now on 2 things. 1, I would be trying to get one of these exemptions. And 2, I would be looking for other jobs. Because some awesome employees are going to get picked up by other companies, and they're going to tell IBM the only reason I'm leaving is because you won't let me work remote. So 1, IBM's probably going to start making exceptions for the people they really want to keep. And 2, they are going to get scared. They're going to realize that they are going to lose their top talent if they continue trying to force people to relocate for their jobs. I mean, look, worst case, you sit around until August, you don't manage to get another job, and then they let you go at that point. At that point, they will more than likely offer folks severance. And if they don't, because they say that they gave you plenty of notice, then you're still better off having been employed that whole time than quitting your job. But if employees stick together and say, no, we're not coming back, we're not moving for this job, then eventually the companies are going to have to change their policies.
Well, what do you think? If all of us employees stick together, will the companies have to change their policies? Yeah, I think not too. So, whatever. I think that, leave me a comment on what you think. I don't think so. So the recurring theme is that people believe that this is the return to office movement is just a disguised layoff, right? A pseudo layoff, as this guy would say. So let's look at one more interesting perspective on the pseudo layoff, and then we'll move forward from that.
The easiest way to lay off employees without laying off employees is to force a return to office. During the pandemic, so many people could work remotely, and a lot of those people decided to move away from the cities that their companies were based in. So for example, if you lived in New York, you might move somewhere where the cost of living is a little bit less, somewhere where maybe you could raise a family or start a family, and everything is really cheaper. It makes a lot of sense. Then in 2023, as we know, there were lots of layoffs, and a lot of companies were getting bad press as well. So I think a lot of companies just said, you know what, I know an easy way to get people to quit, force them back to the office, make them choose. And so if you guys recall, Amazon even said you can either relocate or you can quit. They were quoted saying that, like literally, you can either move back and work with us or you can quit. That way they have killed two birds with one stone. They don't get any negative press, and they also get to lay people off without laying people off. The return to office is definitely a pseudo layoff.
The return to office is definitely a pseudo layoff. Leave me a comment below if you believe that or not. It seems like it might be, but I don't know. I think it's just the companies just wanting their employees back to where they can control them, see them and control them, which I don't think is any better, but whatever, we are their slaves to do their bidding, right? We have to work to make money, but anyways, let me know what you think. But what's the real reason, right? The real reason why these people want us to come back to work, right? It's this guy will tell you it's because rich folks are losing money. Let's take a look.
Man, they want y'all to go back to the office because someone losing money. I see all y'all think pieces, and I don't work in corporate America, and I pray for the ones that do. But the only reason why they want y'all to go back to the office is because some rich person is losing money. Like I said, don't work in corporate America, don't know nothing about it, but I do understand that they're losing money for the simple fact of either the company is paying for those lease spaces that they have in these big skyscrapers, or even just the little commercial ones, and or the person that owns the building said y'all didn't have to pay due to COVID. COVID was a couple years ago. I don't like, 2 year and a half still going around, whatever the situation is. But at the end of the day, the company is losing money, and or whoever owns that building is losing money. And that is why they're pushing y'all to go back to those offices. That's just my personal opinion. Because the world has been moving perfectly fine with y'all working in y'all panties, bras, and or underwear with a big t-shirt. Whatever your situation is, I'm not judging you. But at the end of the day, rich folks losing money, so they trying to put y'all back in the office. Just my opinion.
There you go. That's the real reason. Rich folks losing money. What do you think? All right. Let me combo. All right. We're going to start wrapping this up with this one lady. She's on the same boat of, hey, it's a pseudo layoff. It's layoff in disguise. The companies don't care about you. What's best for the company is what will happen. We all know this, right? They don't care that much about the people. They just want, obviously, companies there to make money, right? So if you're not there to make them money, hey, pseudo layoff to you, whatever. But anyways, let's look at this last one and let me know what you guys think.
There are so many companies that are now requiring employees to go back to the office starting in 2025. I have to wonder what the real reason behind this is. Because if you think about it, so many of these roles were hired remotely. So it didn't matter if your manager lived in California, you were in New York, and the rest of your team was in, I don't know, Utah. Because at the end of the day, you're just getting on Zoom. Kind of interesting that now these companies are saying you need to go back to whatever office is closest to you. If you think about it, majority probably wouldn't even have their teammates in the same office location as them. It's happened to me whenever I got hired at Google. They made me pick one of the 3 main hubs to work at. And I personally just didn't want to move to New York or California, so I picked Chicago. And not one person on my team or any team I worked with was in Chicago, so there was literally no reason for me to go to the office. I think I went a total of 2 times, and when I was there, didn't talk to a single person. And less than a year later, they laid me off. So not only did they waste thousands of dollars to move me here, but they also literally made me pick up my life for no reason. It makes me wonder if companies are doing this with the hopes that their employees will just voluntarily resign and they can avoid doing more layoffs. It's just so obvious that these companies genuinely do not care about what's best for their employees. It's just what's best for them.
All right, well, there you have it, guys. It was a wonderful discussion. Leave me a comment below and tell me what you guys think. Is it, are we overblowing this thing? Hey, guys, it's time to come to the office. Let's get back to work. Get your nose back to the grindstone like we used to do before the pandemic. You guys are being too lazy, right? With your work from home stuff and your pajamas, you know, and not getting stuff done, whatever. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below. Let's keep this conversation going. And like this video if you like this kind of stuff. Subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content, and hit that bell notification to get notified every time a video gets released. If you want to look at some resources that might be able to help you propel to the next level, check out the links in my description. And as always, I wish you much success in your finances and in life. Peace out.